another episode of the Let's Talk Mortgages podcast brought to you by Green Mortgage Protection. And on this episode, we have our very own Anna Braithwaite joining us. Welcome, Anna.
Thank you.
So again, another person's first podcast as well. So you've never been on one, but you've listened to plenty, so you kind of know how it works.
Yeah.
So we're going to have an informal conversation like we do in the office anyway, kind of talking people through the do's and don'ts of your mortgage application, kind of what lenders look out for, how they can arm themselves best, and just ensure success, basically.
Sounds good.
So let's go straight into it. You have been with us for 2 years now. It's absolutely flown by. It might feel like longer for you, but it's flown by for me. But just give us a bit of a background of what your career in finance has been up to this point.
Well, I've been in financial services and mortgages for a very long time. I think it's 24 years this year that I've been in it for. So started at NatWest, did my mortgage qualifications back in 2003, so a very long time ago.
Yeah.
Did lots of different jobs at NatWest, mortgage advisor, business manager, back to being a mortgage advisor again before I left. I was there 16 years. I then moved on to a mortgage broker and went into the admin and compliance side of things. I was there for about 6 years and then I came over to you.
Yeah. So your experience has been invaluable for us because everybody in our office is CMAP qualified. So despite what role people are in, everyone has got the qualification to give advice. So it's funny when people ring up because you're not on the advising side, you're like, I can give you the advice, but I'm not meant to.
It's quite hard to sort of rein it back a little bit sometimes, but yeah, we do. Yeah, I can't advise at the moment, but obviously I have the qualification, but yeah, pass it all over to you for the actual advice side of things.
Yeah, especially when it's like the habit of a lifetime, like when you've been advising for like 10 years and been around it every day, it's like, I know the answer, but I'm not meant to give you it.
I've got to stop myself from talking right now. Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, obviously, kind of like your day to day in the admin role. So you've been on both sides of the process. So for those that don't know, obviously, once you find the recommendation, the recommendation comes from the advisor, but then that's when the work really starts, isn't it?
The hard work really starts then, yeah.
That's it. So us as advisors get the glory because it's us that pick up the phone, it's us that tell you where you're going to go with your mortgage, what we can do for you, but it is you and Charlie in the admin department that do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, we do everything back office wise. So, as soon as we get hold of that application, we then see it through right until we get a mortgage offer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But then it's me that rings them to tell them the good
news.
You
take all the glory.
Steal the limelight.
Yeah, absolutely.
So obviously you're heading up our admin department with Charlie. So kind of talk us through what like your day to day looks like for those that don't know.
Yeah, so when we get in the morning, the first thing we do is check any emails from lenders. If they need further information from any of our clients, then we'll get straight on that. Sometimes it's a matter of just sending them documents that we've already got from the customer, but sometimes we do need to go back to people about that as well.
Yep.
Once we've done all that, we'll then have a look at any new applications and new decisions in principle that need to be done. And then once we've sorted all that out, then we then look at the lender chasing. So me and Charlie will have a bit of a conversation. We'll look at all the cases that we've got going at the moment, and we'll work out whether the lenders are still within their service level agreements or if we need to pick up the phone and find out exactly what's happening with the case.
Yeah, so obviously the main priority for us is making sure that the client comes first. So it's the ongoing cases that we've got, we make sure they keep moving.
We do.
So obviously clients work full time, so we often get documents on an evening when they get home from work. So first job that morning, get them moving.
Yeah.
And then we've had, I think the first few months you were with us was when the 2022 autumn budget came out and rates went ballistic.
Yeah.
So normally we think, we've got everything worked out perfectly, this is our process, but then there's sometimes where it just completely goes out the window, isn't there?
And it did, yeah. And a lot of the time we were resubmitting applications, we were having to change rates all the time, rates were changing so frequently, and obviously we want to give the best rate to the client at that point in time. So yeah, there was a lot of rekeying and swapping and changing so that we could give them the best.
Well, I think it was part way through 2023 where things got quite a lot for the pair of us, didn't it? Which is why Charlie joined us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like we would send a recommendation out to clients. We'd give them all the information on the email, and I'd follow it up with a call and say, look, this is why we're recommending this. This is how it works. Have a think about it, and then come back to me. That's in an ideal situation, but there was times where I'd send a recommendation out in the morning, and then we'd get an email from a lender in the afternoon saying, oh, by the way, at 8 p.m. today, that rate's no longer going to be there.
Yeah.
So I'd have to ring clients and say, I know I've only just made the recommendation. I don't mean to rush you, but if we don't submit it by 8 p.m, it's not here anymore.
Yeah, and we needed to get those clients to send in all the basic documents and things that we needed as well before that time. So it was really chasing those clients up so we could get the application in ASAP for them, so they didn't lose a rate.
Well, and that's the biggest thing, is because it would be awful if we then had to turn around and say, we didn't act quick enough, so it's going to cost you an extra £40-50 a month now.
Exactly.
Is would you rather me rush you and save you a couple of thousand over the next few years and get this done? But yeah, so ideally we can stay on top of things, but there is times where it's just get it in and get it moving.
Absolutely.
So obviously you have more contact with the lenders. Obviously, we on the advising side, we will speak to the lenders and say, look, we've got this client, does it fit what they're looking to do in terms of the affordability, and do they meet your criteria? But you will have more back and forth with the lender, once that application's gone in, won't you?
We do, yeah. We really do chase it through. So we can't get in touch with the lender really when they're within their service level agreement times, but as soon as they say, well, it's going to take us 3 working days to look at these documents. As soon as those 3 working days are up, then we'll be chasing them to find out what they need next.
Yep.
Sometimes, ideal situation, you'll get all the clients from the documents from the client at the beginning. We send them over to the lender, they do the initial underwriting, and we don't actually need to ask for any anymore. But 9 times out of 10, the initial underwriting's done, and they'll come back to us and they'll say, right, we need X, Y, and Z now.
Yep.
So there's a lot of backwards and forwards between us and the clients, and then us and the underwriters,
Yep.
to try and get it pushed through to get the mortgage offer through.
So for those that don't know what is, so obviously we know what service level agreement is,
Yeah.
but for those that don't know, what is like the lender service level agreement?
So a lender will put out a service level agreement time. So they will say, we're not so busy at the moment, so it's only going to take us 1 working day to look at the documents that you've sent through,
Yep.
which is fantastic. As the lenders get more and more busy, some of them might say it's going to take us 3 working days, it's going to take us 5 working days, and every lender will have a different service level agreement time.
Yep.
So it might be we're saying to one client, oh yeah, hopefully this is going to be looked at within a couple of working days, and we'll let you know if they need anything else. Some of the more specialist lenders can have very, very long time scales. I think we had one a couple of months back. I think it was 7 working days. So
I remember like the COVID days where like some of them were like 14, 15 working days. So it's like you're not going to hear anything for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And even if you do, that's not the end of it, because then they might want more information.
Exactly. And there's no point in us actually contacting the client within that time, and the lender within that time, because they just won't look at it if they're within those times. So we can ring them up and say, no, we're still within our service level agreements. You'll just have to ring back when it reaches the end. Really frustrating from our point of view. But we do try to sort of make it obvious to the client how long it's going to take, so hopefully.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things, is like for us as well in our industry as a whole, is kind of setting client expectations. Is we all want things yesterday. Everything else is at the click of a button, like Netflix, Amazon. It's like you want something now, you can have it now. Unfortunately, some big processes like this do take time, so we need to set that expectation of the clients from day one. Just so you know, this lender we're using are historically pretty slow. They're the best fit for you, but they are pretty slow.
Especially when they come back with a lot of different questions as well. People get quite frustrated with the amount of questions that lenders sometimes come back. But the lender does want to lend money, they just need their boxes ticking to say that they're allowed to lend that money. So sometimes it may seem like they're really stupid questions, or we keep coming back for more and more and more, but we just need those boxes to be ticked off and get that mortgage offer produced.
And that's the thing, is like us as brokers, we are intermediaries, we are in the middle of this. Like we place you with the best fit for you. It's like if it's up to us, you'd have the money. We love you, like you can have the money, crack on with what you're doing. But I think some people forget is you're a complete stranger to this bank or building society, and you're asking for hundreds of thousands of pounds. They know nothing about you. They want to do a bit of background to make sure, are you going to pay this money back? Some people that don't understand it, it's like, well, if you just met a stranger down the pub and it's like, hey mate, can I have 200 grand? And you'd be like, what? No. And it's like, well, give me all this information and then I'll think about it. This is no different, is it?
No, absolutely. Yeah, and half the time as well, the client doesn't actually see how much backwards and forwards. We do a lot of backwards and forwards in the back office, and the client won't have a clue. We maybe have documents already, or we'll maybe know certain things, and the lender will ask us for information, and we'll go back to them without the client having to get involved.
Yeah.
But sometimes they just crop up with those questions that we just can't answer without asking.
Yeah, I think with the best will in the world is you just don't know what's going to come out.
Yeah.
So when we book a client in, we will ask for a fairly standard list of documents which we think we will need based on your situation. So obviously if you're employed, we want 3 months pay slips, P60 amongst everything else.
Yeah.
It might be if your income is a bit sporadic or you get mixed overtime and bonuses and things, then they might want some more pay slips.
Yeah.
But sometimes things just completely come out of left field, don't they?
They do. Yeah, absolutely.
So what are putting you on the spot a little bit, what are the main things that normally kind of like trip up like an application for people?
I think pay slips is often one of them. Particularly if people have had a recent pay rise. So lenders often look at the year-to-date income and that they've received. So on your last three pay slips, it might show that you've got this amount of money. But if you had a pay rise 4 months ago, your year-to-date might be a little bit out, so it might be a little bit less. So the lender will probably pick up on that, so we'll need to ask further questions about that. Payslip deductions as well, people who have cars or a laptop or something like that comes directly out the wages, that often trips us up a little bit.
I think with that year-to-date figure as well is lenders aren't stupid as well. So if you've got someone that can get overtime, they don't normally do overtime, but they're thinking, I want to apply for this house in 3 months. I'll do all the overtime I can get my hands on. Yeah. And it's like, there's my 3 pay slips. I'm getting £1,000 a month in overtime. And it's like, well, the other 9 months you didn't get anything.
Yeah, the year to date just doesn't stack up. So yeah, they will pull it up.
Yeah, because it's funny sometimes because like we ask clients for the credit report and like, what do you need that for? Or they send you a screenshot of the number, and it's like it's not the number, it's the history.
Yeah.
And we often get people that are a bit coy about certain things, and unfortunately you do need to disclose everything to us. First of all, if you want us to do the best job possible for you and find you the best deal, but if you want a nice smooth application, you are going to have to give us everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And credit reports are one of the main things as well, that do trip us up. If people can just be really honest with us at the beginning of the process, then we can put them with the right lender for them. But if something crops up and then that lender declines, then we're having to look for another lender. It's, just absolute honesty at the beginning. I mean, it's things like, we might have your credit report and it might say that your credit card balance is £2,000, but you went out last week and you spent £3,000 on a holiday and you put that on your credit card. Now, the lender will pick up on that, but we haven't picked up on it at the beginning unless you tell us. So open and honest is the best policy, definitely.
I think if anything, it's better to overshare.
Definitely.
And it's like, give me too much information and I'll pick out of that what we actually need, rather than, it's not going through. And like, what do you mean it's not going through? And it's like, well, what I can see is like, you've got an extra credit card. It's like, I took that out last week. And it's like, well, do you not think to tell me that? Car
finance as well, swapping your car. So it shows one type of car finance and on the credit report, but actually you've just changed it. Really honest about that. Anything like missed payments on things, just letting us know, because there are lenders that will still look at things with bad credit, but if we don't know about it, just tell us at the beginning, then you can look at the right recommendation from the very start, can't you?
Well, we see like both ends of it. Like you get people that do overshare and they've got like a minor blip where they might have gone into their overdraft. I mean, they've got an arranged overdraft anyway. It's like, I dipped into it last month. Am I going to be okay? And like, you're going to be absolutely fine. And then you've got the other people that tell you nothing and they go over their overdraft. They spend £200 a month on Bet365 or something like that, and they tell you nothing, and you have to like almost become a bit of a detective to go through everything.
You do.
But we work for you. If you're our client, we work for you. Like, yes, we have access to the banks and the lenders. I don't work for them, or we don't work for them. My job is to make sure you get the house that you're after. So I'm working with you, not against you.
Yeah. So we need clients work with us as well, just to tell us as much up front as possible.
Yeah, and I mean we have seen it all.
Yeah, we have.
The good and the bad.
Yeah, we have no judgment at all. We've seen everything, haven't we?
Well, it's funny because people are like, oh, I've got a credit score of this. Like, is that good? It's like, that's better than my score.
Yeah.
Like, I do this for a living. So
It's like the TikTok trend, isn't it? We listen, but we don't judge.
that's it. Yeah, there's no judgment here.
Absolutely.
We are all human, aren't we? Like,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like, life events do crop up, and like some lenders will take a view on it. And like, if it's, I don't know, you went through a breakup or you had like illness or something happened, and it's like, yeah, well, I missed these payments because I was in hospital. We had one lady that was in hospital, wasn't she?
Was, and she went into hospital really suddenly. Her credit card wasn't on a direct debit. Her husband didn't know that this needed paying, presumed everything was on direct debit, so she was in hospital for a little while and the payments just got missed.
Yeah, and
Really good explanation. The lender was fine with that because
Yeah.
there was a really, really good explanation behind it.
Yeah, and I think so. Obviously, when it comes to the application, it's kind of like we're saying there's a lot that clients don't see. So typically, what sort of questions are we getting that come back from lenders that maybe clients can maybe preempt? Maybe.
Things like any missed payments, just really good explanations behind them. Even CCJs in the past, really good explanations as to why that happened. Gaps in employment,
Yeah.
so maybe you were made redundant and it took a couple of months to get another job, but you've just sort of told us that you went from one job to another.
Yeah.
That gap is really important to some lenders. So, you know, just making sure that we've got a bit of a timeline with things like that.
Yeah, I think bank statements and deposit are
Yeah.
probably the biggest stumbling block that I've seen. I mean, I've done this for 7 years, and that's usually where lenders tend to pick things
They
apart.
do.
Because people are like, oh, pay slips, yeah, I get that because that proves my income. And then people are like, well, why do you need to see my bank statements?
Yeah.
Obviously, bank statements show what goes out. So
Yeah.
it shows your spending habits and do you have enough money in your account left over every month to cover everything?
Yeah.
But yeah, like normally, what sort of transactions is probably where it's going to turn quite funny. But what sort of transactions often get picked up by lenders that we have to explain?
Definitely standing orders that people seem to forget about, but standing orders to family members,
Yeah.
particularly. So they want to know whether, you know, it could be child maintenance, it could be that you're paying mum and dad back for some money that they lent you, but that you still have to keep on paying.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of different things around standing orders. Any large payments into account as well. So, you know, if you're transferring money between savings and your current account, it's usually fine if we can see it's come from your wages. But any sort of larger money going into your account from a family member or something along those lines, is it a gift? Do you have to pay it back? Sometimes lenders will want to see if it is a gift that the person who's paying it in's bank account.
Yeah.
From a money laundering point of view.
And I think that is the biggest thing, isn't it? It boils down to those anti-money laundering measures because I think lenders are naturally sceptical anyway, and solicitors. It's like, well, if you've got £4,000 going into your bank account and you can't tell us why, it's like, we don't really like that.
Yeah.
So the audit trail.
Yeah. Things like if they've sold something and there's a large amount of cash coming into the bank account,
Yeah.
you know, have you got receipts for it? Is it something that you just sold? You know, you sold a bike, and it's a couple of thousand that's gone into your account, but can you provide something to evidence that that's what it was and it just wasn't cash that you had under your
the mattress?
or,
Like if you're selling a few items on Vinted for 12 or 15 quid, that's not really going to raise any eyebrows. But if we're talking hundreds, if not thousands,
even a few hundred, just keep receipts. Just keep some sort of evidence of this is what it's for, just in case you ask a question.
Yeah, I mean,
make life easier.
What I tell clients, again, so we see clients and we get the information we need at the beginning to do mortgage in principle, so proof of income and outgoings and credit report, things like that. Then once you've found a house, we need to get some up-to-date documents and we start to add a few more on there, like the proof of deposit and things like that. So there are different stages where you do have to hand over documents.
Right.
But what I say when we ask for the deposit, because if it's coming from a few different sources, people ask, shall I just put it all in one? And then I've got to just provide one bank statement. And I just say, don't bother.
Just please don't touch it just before you're going to get a mortgage because it does muddy the waters a little bit. Just leave it where it is, and just send in the information of the accounts that it's into. Otherwise, it does sometimes create a world of pain.
Yeah, and world of pain is the right word.
Yeah.
We say that quite a lot, don't we, in
do.
the office, is say, oh, Dad's going to give me £5,000. So Dad sends it to my current account. I then send it from my current account to my savings statement.
Yeah.
We need all three of those statements then.
And sometimes Dad's as well.
Yeah, and if Dad's moved it from his ISA to his current account and it's all moved, just get Dad to send a copy of his ISA statement. It's got his name and address on. We can prove it's his. That's enough. Because when we say about opening a can of worms and bringing a world of pain upon ourselves is, rightly or wrongly, we answer the questions that the lender asks us, because sometimes you can answer one question and then it prompts another 5.
It does, and we can open a can of worms. I think people probably think, why don't we ask for everything, absolutely everything we can think of up front? Why don't we just send everything over to the lender? Because underwriters don't want to have to underwrite something if they don't need to. So if they haven't asked for a specific bank account, then don't send it, because otherwise they are going to have to look at it, and then that might, open a can of worms. So we just give them what they ask for and what they need, and it keeps, hopefully, things nice and simple. Yeah,
because I think that there's sometimes where we might shield clients, for like lack of a better word, where if they've only asked for pay slips, great, we'll just put pay slips on, because Mr. might have gone to Aintree at the weekend and spent £300 at Paddy Power or something like that,
and not won anything back.
Or he's spent £500 in Wetherspoons whilst he was there as well. I mean, £500 would get you quite a lot in Wetherspoons, wouldn't it?
It would.
But yeah, sometimes we don't do that, because if there's some transactions on there that are absolutely fine, but they're going to take some explanation, we just won't bother.
It'll just add time to the application if we send it up, because if they're absolutely fine, the underwriter will probably think they're absolutely fine, but then the underwriter will come back to us, and then we'll have to give them an answer, and then it'll be another few working days for them to look at it, and we just want to get the application and the offer through as quickly as possible.
Well, that's it, because this is a business for us. We don't get paid unless you move into your house. So we want you to get this house.
We do.
We're on your side, so we will work with you to advise you on not only the best deal, but how to navigate the application so it's as stress-free as possible for you, because you want to get excited about buying your house. Let us worry about the back and forth and the case submission and things like that. So I was going to have a question then that's completely gone out of my mind. I think like we were saying earlier, weren't we, about we have seen it all, and people often get coy about certain things. So I've seen people send me bank statements where they've like redacted things. They just took a Sharpie and just like ruled them out. And
some people even do it with their account number and sort code, but the lender needs that. Because they often tie in different bank accounts. So you've sent money to a savings account, so then they need to match that savings account with the account number that's on the savings. So please don't redact anything. They just don't like it.
I had one guy send me his bank statement, and he took some like black electrical tape and just stuck it over the sort code and account number. And I was like, You do realise that as part of this application, like we set up your mortgage direct debit for you as well.
So we've got it anyway.
So I need that account number and sort code to set your direct debit up for you. So he reluctantly sent me it again. He just peeled it off, and I could just about see the numbers because it pulled most of the ink with it. So I was like, we'll make it work. But and I think sometimes as well, like we're saying, we can be as proactive as possible. We don't know what underwriter we're going to get at the other end either.
No, and the underwriters are so different. And at one place we might get one where like, that's absolutely fine. And you might send exactly the same type of application to another underwriter at the same lender, and they might be, oh, wait a minute, what about this and what about that? So, we don't know. They look at everything in black and white.
Yeah, and I think sometimes you can tell if you've got like a newish underwriter because they're a bit keen.
You can.
And they want to know everything.
Yeah, and sometimes it'll go for a second check. So they'll underwrite it and you think, oh, brilliant, they've got everything they need. But then it'll go for a second check, and then we'll come back and they'll ask for more documents. Yeah. Until they've got that mortgage offer, the underwriting process does continue.
Well, people think like, oh, I've banked with so-and-so for years. Like, if they've not got my information on file, and it's like departments very rarely share information, do they?
Very different. Yeah, there's lots of banks, the mortgage services don't have access to their normal day-to-day current accounts, so they will still ask for bank statements and question everything. And
they have to stick to the process, whether it's me, you, or some multi-millionaire somewhere. It's like they have to tick every box. And every lender's different as well. So criteria changes, regulations change. So you might have had an application 2 years ago and it flew through. It might be a bit harder now because like money laundering checks have changed.
Yeah, or your circumstances have changed a little bit, you know. You've been on maternity, or you've had a couple of kids, or, you know, there's different transactions showing on those bank statements, whereas before, you know, you were single and it was literally just your bills going out. Yeah, things do change. So.
And I think, again, that's kind of where the bank statements are probably one of the most important documents, because it's the one that people get most coy about as well, especially in the run up to Christmas. People are like, oh, I've spent quite a bit. It's like, we all do it.
Yeah, we do, and we're very transactional. I will be looking down somebody's bank statement, and I'm not taking in where they've been spending the money. I'm just looking out for those key things that an underwriter might pick up on.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really doesn't matter to us. We just need to see it and for you to be honest.
Well, the main reason for needing bank statements in the first place is pay slips are the easiest things to forge.
Yeah.
So what lenders first of all look out for is, does the net pay on your pay slip match up with what you actually receive?
Yeah.
And if it differs, why?
Yeah. And sometimes it does differ. I mean, we've had them in the past where it has differed, but actually it's an accounting error or something like that, and just a simple letter from the company accountant or you know, from HR or something like that saying why there's this difference, then great. But yeah, they will pick up on things like that.
Because most, obviously credit shows up on your credit report, so things like credit cards. Klarna's obviously a big one now, a lot more people using that. That's a bit of a minefield because some lenders don't really know what to do with it, and because it's only there for 3 months, it's most likely going to drop off anyway unless you renew it. Before the mortgage
completes. Yeah, it's a bit of a difficult one, but people do tend to spend a lot of money on Klarna and they forget about it. So, and I think, you know, we get that credit report, and then they'll spend on Klarna the week after or 2 weeks after, but then that may then crop up on the credit check that the lender actually does, so it's different to the document that we've got. So yeah, it's okay to have it, not too much. But yeah, just let us know if it is something that they're doing. I
think that's another thing as well. It's like, I won't get a mortgage, I've got quite a bit of debt, and it's like, well, debt's relative. If you're earning 50k a year and you've got a couple of thousand on a credit card, that's not really an issue.
Yeah.
If you're earning 25 grand a year but you've got 25 grand on credit cards, then we've got a bit of an issue.
Yeah, and then, you know, if we know that there is quite a bit of debt outstanding, we'll make sure that it goes to a lender that is actually all right with that. So the different lenders are sort of specialists for different reasons, aren't they? So it's just making sure that you put with the correct lender in the first place.
Yeah, which again, being honest at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we would... That's it, yeah, be honest, overshare. Yeah. Don't be embarrassed about what documents you give us.
Yeah.
But yeah, like with your credit and stuff, is if you're going to be paying that off at some point, some lenders can ignore that, can't they? And it'll come off the affordability.
Yeah, some lenders will still count it. So again, it's making sure that you're with one, if we need you to be, that'll ignore it because you are actually paying it off. If it's with some lenders, if it's got less than 6 months to run, they'll just ignore it, disregard it.
Yeah.
Whereas others will count it still. So yeah, it's just making sure that we know the situation. And
it's kind of been good to like have this chat, 'cause obviously we speak about it in the office anyway as we're working on cases, but when you say it out loud, it kind of reinforces that need for having a broker that works for you.
Definitely.
Because like we were saying there, is some lenders will discount it, some won't. If you went straight into Barclays, the first one I can think of, if they can't lend you what you need, you leave there quite disheartened, thinking, I'm never going to get a mortgage. And it's like, you might not. It might just be that you're just not the right fit for Barclays, but somebody else will happily accept you.
Yeah.
But we would work that out for you. So we would have steered you away from there in the first place, and rather than you thinking it's you against the lender, you've got us in the corner fighting for you.
Yeah, and it's important as well when customers come to us to tell us if they've been declined by another lender in the past as well, because then we know and we'll work out the reason why, and then we'll look for a lender that would actually look at that, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you can't go to anybody. But the whole point of a broker is that there's generally a mortgage company out there who will do it. We've just got to find that correct fit for you.
And that's it. And again, being open and honest about your full situation is for us to find that perfect lender, we need to know exactly what we're working with, but then also what your preferences are as well. Because if we say, it'll work if you do this, but that doesn't fit your plan, then we can rule that option out altogether.
Exactly. And I mean, it might be the cheapest lender in the world, but we know that they will take 3 months for it to go through,
Yeah.
and you need a really quick mortgage offer. So, you know, it's going into your side of things, the advice side
That's
of things.
it. You just can't help yourself, can you?
Yeah. Old habits die hard.
But yeah, so after we were talking about like deposit, weren't we? So we're saying keep it where it is. Don't move it, because audit trail is one of the biggest things that slows things down.
Yeah.
Because it slows things down because we have to sit there with all your bank statements and work out where this money's gone from.
And sometimes it's a nightmare. We
have to paint the picture to the lender that way as well.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things are out of our control, so obviously there's going to be evaluation that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on the case, obviously that can be online or it can be physical. So if it's a remortgage for your house, we would put you down as the point of contact for that. So obviously getting that booked in quicker will help speed that up as well.
Yeah.
But then it's pushing through to completion as well. So we push everything to completion, don't we? And then it's kind of over to the solicitors from there.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't completely say, bye, see you then, you've got your
you're on
mortgage
your own
offer,
now.
our job's done. We do obviously help out still, you know, if they need any help with anything, but really, as soon as the mortgage offer comes through, it's the start of the legal process, really.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes clients find it a little bit frustrating because they're then having to give all these documents again to a solicitor.
Yeah.
So it's really good if you've given documents to us, keep them nice and safe, ready to go over to the solicitor as well, because they have their own money laundering things and you know, regulations that they need to adhere to. So
and sometimes like clients say, well, you didn't ask for as much as what they did, and it's like, well, we get enough to do our job, because our job's in 2 bits, isn't it? So there's the bit that we provide to the lenders as part of the application, but there's probably what's the biggest part of your job is the compliance bit. So we will do what we need to satisfy the lender and to satisfy our regulators, but solicitors often go one step further because they have to do the money laundering checks on behalf of the lender as well, so it's a bit more serious for them.
It is, and so they can ask for a lot more. We tend to look at deposits over the last 3 months, whereas a solicitor will probably go back at least 6 months, sometimes longer if the lender wants to see the you know, deposit build up.
Yeah.
And this is sometimes where people are tripped up if, you know, grandma gave you some money 6 months ago, maybe that's not something you've disclosed to us and it's not something that we would have seen, but then the solicitor is then saying, oh, actually, this is a gift from grandma.
Yeah.
So then everything does need to be changed with the lender, and it can trip it up a little bit.
Yeah, and I think we get people that their method of saving is to give the money to mum or dad. It's like, take it off me, don't let me spend it.
Yeah.
And then when that comes back, it's like, oh, well, dad's gifted it. And it's like, no, he hasn't, that's my money. And it's like, we have to talk people through that process and say, we know it's your money, but the lender looks at it this way.
Yeah.
So if dad can just sign this form to say, yes, it's your money, just giving it back.
Yeah, doesn't need to repay it.
It's not a loan, anything like that. So sometimes what makes sense to us, because we know what the lender's asking for, makes no sense whatsoever to clients.
It doesn't, and I can imagine it's quite frustrating for them, because we know it's their money.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that this is a way that the lender treat it. So it's a way that we've got to treat it, and just those additional forms need signing.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of that brings on to like another point is when I ask people, when I book them in for an appointment, it's like, are you employed or self-employed? It's like, oh, I'm employed by my company.
Yeah.
So then it's like, yes, you draw a salary, but if you earn more than 20% of that business and you're drawing dividends or you've got access to the net profit or whatever, lenders will actually class you as self-employed. So
some people get quite angry about that, don't they? Well, I'm employed, I'm a director for a reason, I'm employed by my limited company, but unfortunately lenders just don't see it that way, and you will be classed as self-employed. So you start to go down the self-employed rules, and they will ask for a lot more documents. Yeah,
so it's like, I know you see yourself as an employee, but unfortunately they're going to look at it this way. So then my next question is, do you have an accountant that does everything for you? And I'm praying they say yes, because then the accountant can send me all the documents we need, rather than me then have to direct you to the government website and you lose your head and then you just don't come back.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's really good when a client sort of says to their accountant, you can speak to to James on my behalf, or to Anna or Charlie on my behalf, because then we can literally cut out the middle person, the client. We can go directly to the accountant and speak our jargon to them as to what the lender actually needs, and they can get us the documents really quickly.
So I like doing it that way as well. So let me save you a headache. Let me add a little bit more value to you. if you're happy to, I'll just speak to your accountant directly, because he'll know the exact format that I'm after. He'll have them all on file, because then if I ask you, you might misinterpret it as something else. So I was like, you don't worry yourself, I'll sort this.
And a business owner has an accountant for a reason. They don't want to do that side of things. So, you know, don't deal with that side of it. We'll go to the accountant directly for you and deal with it.
So the two parts of our job then, so we've kind of spoke about the application side, so that's working with the lenders. We also have the compliance side, which is probably the bulk of what you do day to day. So you've now submitted an application for a client. What's your next job as part of the process for that?
So we need to make sure that we've ticked all our boxes when it comes to compliance. So there's certain documents that we have to get as a company, which may be sometimes different to the ones that we've sent up to the client. But we need to make sure that we've fully identified people and we've got bank statements and pay slips and things like that on file. So we've got a system that we put all the client's details in. Whole fact find all about the client, any little facts about them that, you know, there's a certain reason why we've recommended a lender. And then we'll then print off a suitability report and complete it so that the client knows exactly why we've recommended, who we've recommended. And we'll send it over to them.
So if application's gone out, you then get an email from us. It's got your application form on it, so you know exactly what information we've disclosed. It's got our suitability report on there, which is why we've made that particular recommendation. So why that lender, why that type of mortgage, everything like that. So you've got that in writing. It kind of protects both of us, really. So you know exactly what you're agreeing to. But then if anything happened in the future, because you've got that letter, you've agreed to that advice that we've given.
Yeah, absolutely. And I said that really quick then, but the compliance side of mine and Charlie's job is probably the longest side.
It is, yeah.
So an application might take us, 20 minutes to key it onto the system and then another 15 minutes to upload everything. But compliance on some really complicated cases can take half a day to sort out. So,
because some complex cases, you have to explain even more about why you've done what you've done.
You do.
Like debt consolidation, for example. So anybody that wants to pay off some credit cards or loans with their mortgage, so add them to your mortgage, obviously that is what the regulators see as high risk, because you take an unsecured debt and secure it against your house. It comes with risks for that. So we have to give war and peace about why that's the right thing for them. And it brings a lot of extra paperwork for that as well, doesn't it?
It does. And from a compliance point of view, me and Charlie are protecting you as an advisor, and we're making sure that you've done everything that you need to. You've checked what interest rates are on at the moment. You're not consolidating something that they're on 0% at the moment and they're suddenly going to take it over 40 years or something like that. So we've just got to make sure that everything has been done in the best interest for the client, so we can honestly say, this is the best advice and this is why we've given it.
I think sometimes the easiest, I'd call it more of a grumble than a complaint, is somebody takes a 5-year fixed rate and then interest rates drop by half next week, and I'm locked in now. And it's like, well, as we discussed, this was at the time.
At the time, you really wanted to know what you were paying every month.
We can predict things as best we can.
We'd never know.
But we can only work with what's in front of us at that time. So unfortunately, some people are unfortunate where if you've got a renewal, you can only get what's available at the time.
Absolutely. And as a mortgage advisor myself, when I had my daughter, I just wanted to know what my mortgage payments were. I was going on maternity. I didn't really know what was going to happen with my wage and things like that. I didn't know what I was going to return to work on. And my mortgage rate was up, so I locked myself in for 5 years and the financial credit crash happened.
0.1%.
Rates just went down and I was locked in at that higher one. But for me, that was the best thing to do, because my priority at that moment in time was just knowing how much I wanted to pay every month. So it was the right advice at the time.
But then if we have the conversation as well, is that, look, if you're a person that likes security, you don't want to be sat down with me every 2 years and renewing it and going through it all the time, is if you're happy with that figure, even if rates, like I say, halved, are you still happy to pay that amount of money for the house that you're buying? If it's a yes, then that's a good fit for you. Some people don't like to gamble.
No. Some
they don't
people
like
are
uncertainty.
gamblers. Some people are budgeters and very risk averse. They're like, and this is me. I like to know what my bills are, how much I'm going to be paying
Yeah.
for a nice long period of time. So I'm very busy and I don't want to have to sort it out every 2 years.
Yeah, and it's funny really because like I've got buy-to-let properties where I would have them for 2 years and I would gamble with them thinking things are going to come down. I want to remortgage them to pull money out. But when it comes to my own home, I've had 3 mortgages, 2 of which have been 5-year fixed rates. I'm looking at another 5-year at the end of this year because I don't mess around with my own home. I'll mess around with investments, but my home is my home and I don't want to mess with that.
It's important.
So we've been going for a good 40 minutes.
Wow. How time flies when you're having fun, eh?
About mortgage admin, who'd have thought it?
Who'd have thought it? I know. I thought I was the only person who might find it a little bit interesting.
I know. You've been an absolute like breeze, like a godsend since you joined us because I like the human interaction side of it. I like giving the advice and I can talk rubbish with anybody. So I like the networking side and things like that. The writing of the suitability reports and things like that was not for me. So I can't believe it's actually been 2 years that you've been with us now.
Yeah, I can't. It's flown by.
Yeah,
but it feels like I've been here forever as well.
It's been your favourite job, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So I just want to finish with a couple of just, I'll say quick fire questions, but just some like fun questions to finish with. So we're chatting about bank statements, we've seen it all, we've heard it all, and we don't judge. But what is one of the weirdest or funniest things you've seen on a bank statement?
A few years ago, it was deposit bank statements, and there was a couple of £1,000 paid into this lad's account for a penis enlargement. And I actually had to ring him and ask him about it. It was quite embarrassing for me and for him. He said, it's not what you think. And my dad thought he was being really funny when he paid this into the account.
So normally it's like, he's your idiot best mate that
does
that,
this
not
was
your
his dad. This was his dad. So
thanks, Dad.
I explained that one to the lender.
Because sometimes like lenders don't spot it, but if it's like a $4,000 thing and it's got penis enlargement in it, that's going to get picked up.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, I've done this job for 7 years and I've only ever seen one OnlyFans transaction and it was for like £8.40 or something. I don't know what £8.40 gets you on OnlyFans, like a picture of a foot or something. Maybe. But this lad worked away and it coincided where it was like 2 weeks into his 3 weeks offshore. So I was like, I think he was a bit lonely by that point. And so that's the one and only one I've seen. But we do get some funny cases where people try their luck, don't they?
Yeah.
I had one lady where she wanted to buy a house, affordability just didn't stack up. What she was trying to buy, she just didn't earn enough money to do it. And she ran like a bit of a syndicate at work. So they all put 25 quid a month in, and it was a bit of a punters club where they'd like gamble some of it and save some of it. And she said, "Can I not use that as income?" And I was like, "What, your friend's sending you 25 quid a month?" Like, no.
Not really, no. The lender would be too pleased about it.
But do you remember our guy from Iraq that tried to use cash for his deposit?
Yeah, so I think this was, it changed what it was actually for and where it was from several times before we said, "Oh, sorry, can't help you on this one," but I think it was cash.
Yeah.
First of all, from an inheritance and a property sale, and
we caught him out, didn't we? Because obviously I was advising, but then you and Charlie were working on the case.
Yeah.
And we all asked him separately at a different time, and all of us got a different answer, didn't we?
We did.
And then he kind of came clean at the end, and he said, "Well, I'd gone back to Iraq to go visit family, and they'd given me some money, and then I brought it back.
Yeah.
And it was in cash."
Yeah.
So I said, like, just so I've got my understanding right, you're telling me you've brought a hold all full of cash through customs, and you now want to buy a house with it? And he was just like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let's just unpick this. It's like, first of all, Iraq's a sanctioned country, so we can't use anything that comes from there. It's 30 grand in cash, and you can't tell me the origin of it. Even if it did come from a non-sanctioned country, we can't use it.
Yeah, and apparently there's no paperwork either for it. So even if he'd sold a property or something like that, there's zero paperwork to evidence anything at all.
I think he told us that there were no banks in Iraq as well,
Yeah,
didn't he?
he did, yeah.
He said they don't have banks, so everything's cash.
Quite quickly told him, we're not the broker for you.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, go try someone else. And
Yeah.
he did ring me again a few weeks later, and I'm like, I'm not going to bring this the pain on myself. It's just not going anywhere.
No, definitely not one for us.
But just to wrap up then, so one last punchy thing is, if I'm applying for a mortgage in the next 6 months, let's assume I'm employed, what would be your advice to help me best set myself up for success?
Check all your documents, so make sure that your ID is in date, your passport's in date, hasn't expired, make sure your driving licence has your current address on it.
Yeah.
Bank statements, if you're getting quarterly statements or anything like that, you can sometimes switch them to monthly, makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Any pay rises or anything like that you're going to be getting, keep the emails from HR, keep the documents from HR.
Yeah.
If you're coming back off maternity leave or anything along those lines, again, keep emails, keep any sort of evidence you can. If you're selling anything when it comes to your deposit, make sure that you've got some sort of evidence of where the money's coming from.
Yeah.
And any gifts as well, just make sure that the person who's gifting you the money is aware that they're probably going to have to sign some documents and maybe send in bank statements as well.
Yeah, so preparation is key.
Absolutely, yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Be an oversharer.
Yeah.
And don't be upset if you have to repeat yourself numerous times.
Yeah.
I say that to clients all the time is, what you've sent me, just keep it handy because the solicitor's going to ask for that plus more.
Yeah.
So you'll probably find you end up repeating yourself, and when you have to fill out the paperwork, you've got to do it again and again. So yeah, we are here to help you as the client. We're just the intermediary between you and the lender. Sometimes we do get fed up when we get asked for, what does £45 a month to Total Fitness relate to?
Get very frustrated.
What do you think?
Sometimes, but yeah.
But yeah, I think just do yourself a favour. So if you do have those stupid transactions from dad for penis enlargement or money for drugs or anything like that, probably let that fall off your bank statement before you start doing something.
Yeah.
If you do like to have a gamble on a weekend, keep it moderate or just have a completely separate account for that. And yeah, just being open and honest. We're here to help you and we want you to succeed, because if you don't, then we don't. So
Exactly.
so thank you very much for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed your first podcast.
Yeah.
It was probably a lot more relaxed than what you were expecting.
Yeah,
but yeah, thank you everybody for tuning into this episode of the Let's Talk Mortgages podcast, brought to you by Green and Green. We hopefully have a few more lined up in the next coming months, so keep an eye out for those. And yeah, thank you for watching.